Hey, welcome back. We are headed into the Ouachita National Forest today in southeast Oklahoma, and we're going to be camping at Cedar Lake. Come along. Welcome back to another episode of Eric's Camping Adventures. We're going to go on another search today looking for some beautiful places. It's going to be cold tonight, down to the high 20s. Cedar Lake is about 2.5 hours southeast of Tulsa in the Ouachita National Forest. One of the coolest things about Oklahoma is you don't have to drive very far to change biomes completely. This is a southern pine forested area at the edge of the Ozark Mountains. We picked a spot with a good view of the lake, and as usual, we got there a little later than expected and started to set up as the sun was setting. This is the first time we set up with the bigger rims and tires on the camping trailer. It did raise it up just a little bit, so the setup was a little bit awkward, kind of figuring some things out. But the nicest thing was I didn't have to hit my head getting in and out of the back of the storage area. The 3 inches that I gained with the bigger tires actually made things just a little bit easier to set up the annex and to set up the tent. I like it. The setup looked pretty nice to me with those matching Honda Pilot rims, but I did forget to drill some holes in my ladder to accommodate for the extra 3 inches of height. We decided to use my Christmas present, our tailgater tire table, and we wanted to use it for cooking to see if we could get away with that smaller space for some cooking and setup. I have always found that listening to my wife when we're doing camp setup or doing activities at camp is always a pretty good idea, because many times it has saved me from some problems. Some of which I admit, sometimes I don't admit them, but I do kind of chuckle to myself occasionally when I see all these beautiful smiles and no discussion happening during camping, because I know that's not how couples camp. That's called video editing. While I had the stove out, I decided to warm up my hot water bottles right away and stuff them inside the sleeping bags.
Fingers are so stiff.
With a little bit of ground turkey, all browned and cooked, and some vegetables warmed, we're ready for some guacamole, some salsa, and a warm spot in the annex. I decided to bring my little buddy heater to warm up the annex just in case it got colder than we thought, and it wasn't that cold, but it sure made it a little bit more comfortable. But can't discount just the old-fashioned, old way of using a hot water bottle. I would encourage you, whatever system you use, to think about a hot water bottle in your sleeping bag, because it really makes you comfortable. You can just put it between your thighs, which is close to your femoral artery, and it will just warm up everything, and that heat will circulate through your body. We slept good in some warm bedding and woke up to a frosty morning where the water on the lake was warmer than the air. And we woke up to a beautiful lake. I think the smell of the coffee attracted a dog that was in the campground, and he came over, maybe hoping for a little breakfast that comes after coffee. Are you coming?
I've got to put on my
Hello there, puppy.
Hello?
Watch out behind you. The camera and the coffee's over. That's an interesting thing.
I've got
We decided to move down to the shore of the lake to take in the view of the fog coming across the water. Our new friend joined us down by the shore of the lake and just hung out. He was quite playful. After drinking our coffee and taking in a few drone shots, we decided it was time to explore around the lake. There is a nice hiking trail that goes all the way around the lake, and we wanted to see more of this little spot. The trail around Cedar Lake is relatively easy. There's only 118 feet of elevation gain and loss. It's about 3 miles, just under 3 miles. A very pleasant walk through the woods right along the water. Those two little insets on my video are actually from All Trails. They're just screenshots off of my phone. I find that All Trails is usually pretty good. I noticed recently in the news that someone got lost with All Trails, but right around Cedar Lake, it's right on. The trail around Cedar Lake is well maintained. There are 2 marshy areas with a drainage, one to the west and then one to the north. Both have bridges over them. This is the second low-lying drainage area to the north with a little creek and a little bridge. I think that the best views of the lake were from the north side looking south. There was a low mountain in the background, and it was just pretty. Right ahead of us is the dam for Cedar Lake. After crossing that, we'll go into the first loop of the campground and then wiggle our way back through to the South Shore loop, and that is where our campsite is at. We got back and made ourselves a simple oatmeal breakfast and talked about the impact of the new tires on the trailer.
An edge of the sleeping bag.
With the bigger tires, helped out really well right here. A lot more space in the annex. Don't have to hit our heads anymore. I'm liking that. One thing I have to change is the little C-jack stabilizers right there. They just aren't going to reach anymore. Those are 18-inch ones. I have some 25-inch ones I'm going to install. As we're packing up the rooftop tent, I just want to tell you a little bit about the direction of my channel in the past and how things are going to be going forward. A big piece of my motivation for this channel prior to my father passing was for me to be able to be in touch with him while he was in the nursing home, 13 hours from me. And the volunteers at the nursing home would take him a tablet and put on my YouTube channel, and he would watch my videos. It was a way for him to see his son, and sometimes I would send him some private links of some communication. But at the funeral, one of the volunteers at the nursing home came by to visit with me, and she told me that my dad really liked to watch outdoor videos of the national parks. And one time, one of the very vocal things that he said to her was, I think that Eric has been there. And I'm not sure which national park it was, but Gail, thank you for coming to the funeral, and thank you for sharing that with me. My videos for a little bit will probably be pretty intermittent, but I can tell you that the next video will be installing those C-jacks on the back of my camping trailer, so you come back.